Hey y'all, it's your friend D, and in today's video, we are back in the music store. In the last video, I showed you how I made our sales desk and also this back wall. I also shared these two instruments that I made years ago, and several of you guys asked about these in the comments and wanted to see a tutorial on it. So this was my version of a clarinet, and this is my flute. And I have to say the flute definitely came out better than the clarinet, and I'm missing some pieces on the clarinet. So I need to remake both of these anyway because I have to stock the music store. So in this video, we're going to start off with the flute and we'll figure out the clarinet in a separate video. So for the materials that you're going to need one dowel rod that is 4 inches. This one is 1/8 of an inch. I believe this is a piece of a skewer from the Dollar Tree, but it'll work. It's close enough that I think I can make it work. Next, I'm going to use a toothpick that I cut to 2 inches long. I also have 2 pieces of wire that I cut to 1 inch long. And this is just wire from the Dollar Tree. They have this all the time. I'm not sure of the diameter of this wire, but it's the thinnest one that they carry. I'm also going to use some beads from the Dollar Tree. And it really doesn't matter which color you get. If you find them in the color that you're going to paint your flute, that can be a big help. But since we're going to paint it anyway, I'm just going to use these. And I try to get the ones that are a little bit flatter. So if you look at these side by side, I try to pick out the ones that are like this, that are a little bit flatter than these, because I think the larger ones are too bulky for the look of the flute. And you're also going to need your hot glue gun and some paint. And this part is optional, but I'm going to use my Mod Podge and black paint mixture to give my flute a base coat first and then go over it with my final color. To start with, I'm going to take my 4-inch dowel rod and I've marked off 1.25 inches. And that's where I want to put my toothpick. So I want to put one end of my toothpick right on that and glue it down. So I'll do that and we'll come back. I have my toothpick glued into place. And when you lay your flute down, you want the toothpick side facing you. And on the right side of it, we're going to glue a piece of the wire on the very top of the dowel rod. So on this end here, we're going to place this wire on top and glue that. And just get it to the very end and that should be good. So I have my wire glued on top, and if you have the little finger protectors, definitely use that for this part. I didn't put mine on and my fingers got a little bit too close to that hot glue. And also, if your glue starts to clump up on you or your finger touches it like mine did and it kind of messed it up as it dried, just take the nozzle of your hot glue gun and rub it over it, because the heat from the metal will help smooth that back out so you don't have any lumps in your hot glue. Next, we're going to put on the lip plate and the keys. And I got my ruler out so you can see how I did the spacing. The lip plate is going to be 1/4 inch from the edge here. So I'm going to put a dab of hot glue here. And what I did for the original one for the mouthpiece, I waited for the hot glue to be almost cooled down. And I took a toothpick and I just pressed it in to get that indent. I thought I was filming, but I wasn't. So I waited for this to turn a little bit of a milky color. And it was still warm enough for me to press the toothpick down on top of it and press an indent into it. So next we're going to start putting our keys on. And for this part, I went ahead and marked off my keys. And I marked them each off about 1/4 inch away from each other. The first key is going to be 1.25 inches away from the very top of the flute. And I'm only going to do the first 3 with the beads, and then I'll show you why I do that. So I got my first three on, and I'm going to stop right there because I don't want to accidentally forget about the key that we need the wire for. So that one's going to be the fourth key. We're going to take that other piece of wire and we're going to curl the edge of this. I'm going to take my pliers and we're going to curl that in just a little bit. And yours should look similar to this. And if you need something else to reference it by, just think of the number 9, like on this ruler. Yeah, a shape like that will work. And this is going to go on my fourth mark here. But now that I look at it, I think I want to shorten that tail up a little bit instead of it going out that much. I think I'm going to bring it in and clip off a little bit on the end. So I did trim mine down some, and now I'm going to glue it in place. For this next part, I needed to protect my finger, but this is also going to prevent the hot glue that I'm going to put in this opening from seeping all the way through. So I'm going to put a dab right here in the middle. Pretty large dab, actually. So my glue is dry inside of the wire. Now, you don't have to do that. You can definitely put a bead in there or even use some paper board. But this is the way I did the original one, so I wanted to just do it again that way and show you guys that it does work. And now we're going to continue putting the beads on the rest of this. Now we're at the part where I made a change. So on the original one that I made, I had these extra keys, and this one's already starting to come off. But a flute does have keys here, but they don't stick out this far. And I'm just going to, on the new one, just completely take these off. But if you look close, I did make some keys with just using hot glue and just pressing the glue down after it cooled some. So I'm going to do that to mimic the rest of those keys that are on the flute here. So I'm just going to use my little silicone finger protector to press down that hot glue once it cools a little bit. And this glue is going to cover the very top of the wire that we placed. So you won't see the end of this wire once the hot glue is cooled down and we paint over it. So I did my second dab of glue, and it's kind of hard to see right now, but I think after it's painted, well, from this angle, you can kind of see this one is raised up a little bit. And once it's painted, I think you'll definitely be able to see that there's two little keys there. The next two keys are going to be at the end of the flute, and we have two beads left. So we're going to have one a quarter inch from the end, and then the other one is going to be a quarter inch from that. But these two are going to be on the side of the flute. So on the side where we put our toothpick, we're going to have two more beads over here. Now that we have all of our beads on, we need to connect those to the rod system. And the rod system is our toothpick and our wire here. In order to do that, I'm just going to run a thin line of hot glue from the bead to the toothpick. So the next step is just to paint it, and I'm going to do my black paint and Mod Podge mixture. Here are the finished flutes, and this first one is the one that I made years ago. And I plan on keeping this on display in the music store. And I am going to take off these keys because this one's falling off anyway. Let me see if I can pull it. Yeah, came off. So yeah, I'll probably have to snip that one off with my wire cutters. But I do plan on keeping this one. And this is the one that I showed you guys how to make. And I like the way it came out. I think the color of this one is a lot nicer because I put that layer of black paint and Mod Podge underneath it. And as I was brushing on the metallic silver, I like how you get more dimension because that black is kind of filling in those cracks and crevices. And I did use a different metallic paint than I used on the original one. I didn't have that same color that I used on this one. But I like the way this one came out. So this is going to be our open hole flute because the beads do give it an open hole effect. And then I decided to make a closed hole flute, and I just used hot glue. So if you can't find those beads at your Dollar Tree or something else that you can use, just make small little dabs of hot glue. And as it starts to cool down, you can take your finger or one of those silicone covers like I have and put it over your finger and just press it down slightly. So I made all of the keys on this one in that way. And then I decided to make a piccolo. And to make this one, I followed the same directions as the regular size one. I just cut all of the material in half. So instead of it being 4 inches long, it's only 2 inches long. And for the keys, I just used the hot glue. And I started out measuring the distance on this, but really, guys, it was just better to just eyeball it because everything was going to be so close. And I still think it came out really nice. These are our models for professional level flute players. I think this one's broken. We do offer lessons, and I definitely think you should sign up. Here's Tanya holding one of the flutes. This is the one with the beads. And I did not use any kind of sticky tack to get her to hold this. It's kind of just balancing on her thumbs and this finger right here. That key, this key is kind of balanced on her pinky right here to kind of help her hold it. So she can hold it without any kind of help. And I think that this newer one is a really good size for the dolls. So guys, let me know what you think about this project. And if you have any questions about anything in this video, please leave it in the comments below. I will try my best to answer your questions. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I'll see you next time, my friends. Bye-bye.